Olivia buzzed with excitement, the kind that made her heart flutter like a schoolgirl's. It was the final week at work before her long-awaited vacation, a break she had been dreaming of for months. Each tick of the clock was a step closer to paradise, to sun-drenched days by the beach and starlit nights wrapped in the warm embrace of her husband, James. As she powered down her computer, her colleague Sarah couldn't help but notice the glow on Olivia's face. "You look like you're already on that beach, Olivia," Sarah teased, packing up her things. Olivia's smile widened. "I can almost feel the sand between my toes," she replied, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "James and I have been planning this trip for ages. I just can't believe it's finally happening." On her way home, Olivia's mind danced with visions of the upcoming escape. She imagined the two of them, away from the daily grind, reconnecting in a paradise of their own making. The thought alone was enough to lighten the steps of her usually weary commute. Opening the door to their cozy home, Olivia's eyes were immediately drawn to a suitcase in the hallway, neatly packed and ready to go. A delighted smile spread across her face. James, who was notoriously last-minute with packing, had taken the initiative this time. It was a small but sweet surprise. "James, my love, I'm back," Olivia announced cheerfully as she entered the kitchen, expecting to find him amidst a pre-vacation mess, perhaps struggling with the travel pillow that always gave him trouble. Instead, she found him seated at the kitchen table, a glass of wine in hand, dressed as if ready for an outing rather than their usual casual evening at home. The sight stopped her in her tracks, her joyful greeting dying on her lips. "Sweetheart, what's happening? Are you heading out?" Olivia asked, her voice tinged with confusion. James looked up, his expression somber, a stark contrast to the lightness Olivia felt. "Olivia, I'm weary," he began, his voice heavy. "I need to go now. I need some time to unwind, to rest. I'm afraid I might be depressed." Olivia's heart sank. "Darling, what do you mean? Can't you wait just one more week?" She couldn't mask the hurt in her voice, the bewildering pain of unexpected distance. James shook his head, avoiding her gaze. "You wouldn't understand, Olivia. You're always so cheerful, surrounded by your team at work. Meanwhile, I'm here, feeling low and in desperate need of a break." Olivia's mind raced, trying to piece together the sudden shift in their plans, in his demeanor. "But we planned this vacation together, for both of us. What's changed?" she pressed, searching his face for answers she feared. James's response was a shrug, his words like a cold draft in their warm kitchen. I need this, Olivia. I need to go alone." The room spun as Olivia grappled with the reality unfolding before her. This was not the vacation they had dreamed of, not the break they both had yearned for. It was a chasm opening between them, one she didn't know how to bridge. The air in the kitchen grew heavy, laden with unspoken words and stifled emotions. Olivia stood rooted to the spot, her mind a tumult of confusion and disbelief. James's sudden declaration of needing solitude, his decision to leave without her, felt like a betrayal of their shared dreams. "But James, this vacation was for both of us," Olivia tried again, her voice barely a whisper, laden with a mix of hurt and incredulity. "We've been looking forward to this together. Why now? Why alone?" James sighed, his gaze fixed on the dark liquid swirling in his glass, a stark contrast to the lightness that once filled their conversations. "I can't explain it, Olivia. I just feel trapped, suffocated. I need a change of scenery, a break from everything, even if it's just for a while." Olivia's heart ached at his words, the distance between them widening with each syllable. "And what about me?" she asked, a desperate plea in her voice. "Don't I deserve a break too? Can't we find a way to do this together?" James looked up, his ease meeting hers for the first time since the conversation began. "I know it's hard to understand, Liv," he said, the use of her nickname a jarring contrast to the coldness of his decision. "But I need to do this alone. It's not about us. It's about me finding some peace." The finality in his voice felt like a cold hand squeezing Olivia's heart. She watched, numb, as he stood up, the chair scraping against the floor, with a sound that seemed to echo her inner turmoil. "James, please." Olivia reached out, her hand trembling. "Think about what you're doing. Think about us." James paused, his back to her, his shoulders tense. For a moment, Olivia hoped he might relent, might turn back and embrace her, laugh off this madness as a cruel joke. But the moment passed, and he continued packing his bag, his movements deliberate, final. As he zipped the suitcase closed, Olivia felt a part of her break. The man she loved, the man she had built a life with, was choosing to walk away when they were on the cusp of a shared dream. "James, this isn't right," Olivia said, her voice stronger now, fueled by a surge of hurt and anger. "We saved for this trip together. It was for us, not just for you." James turned, his expression one of resignation. "I know, Liv, and I'm sorry, but I have to do this, for my sanity, for my peace. I hope one day you'll understand." With those final words, he picked up his suitcase, his steps heavy yet determined as he walked to the door. Olivia followed, a mix of disbelief and sorrow propelling her forward. "James," she called out, a last attempt to reach him, to pull him back from the precipice on which he teetered. But he didn't stop, didn't turn back. The door closed behind him with a soft click, a quiet end to their shared dreams, leaving Olivia alone in the silence of their home. The echo of his departure, a hollow sound in the empty space. The silence in the wake of James's departure was suffocating. Olivia stood motionless, the chill of the empty house seeping into her bones. The remnants of their last conversation hung in the air, a painful reminder of the void James had left behind. As the initial shock subsided, a torrent of emotions flooded Olivia. Betrayal, confusion, and a deep, aching sadness mingled with a growing sense of abandonment. The man she had trusted with her heart, her dreams had vanished into the night, leaving her grappling with a reality she could not comprehend. The ticking of the kitchen clock was a harsh reminder of time passing, of life moving forward even when it felt like her own world had come to a standstill. Olivia's gaze drifted to the table where James had sat, where he had shattered their plans with a few cold words. That's when she noticed his phone, forgotten in the haste of his departure. A flicker of hope ignited within her. Perhaps a message, a clue, anything that could help her understand why. She reached for the phone, her hands trembling, but it was locked, his secrets guarded behind a digital barrier she could not breach. Then, an incoming message lit up the screen, offering a fleeting glimpse into the life James had chosen over their shared dreams. "I'm already at the airport waiting for you, babe. Give me a call when you get there." The words were a physical blow, each one landing with the weight of betrayal. Olivia's heart raced, her mind struggling to piece together the fragments of the life she thought she knew. "Who is this babe?" Olivia whispered to the empty room, the question echoing off the walls. The realization that James had not just left her for a solitary retreat, but for another woman, was a cruel twist of the knife already lodged in her heart. The sound of the front door creaking open jolted Olivia from her thoughts. James stood in the doorway, his expression a mix of surprise and irritation at seeing Olivia with his phone in hand. "What are you doing with my phone, Olivia?" James asked, his tone sharp, defensive. Olivia, still reeling from the revelation, met his gaze with a mixture of sorrow and anger. "Who is she, James? Who are you leaving me for?" James hesitated, the facade of righteousness faltering under the weight of his deceit. "It's not what you think, Olivia," he began, but the hollowness of his words was evident. "Don't lie to me, James. Not now," Olivia interjected, her voice rising with a mixture of hurt and defiance. "I saw the message. You're not just running away from me, you're running to her." James's silence was an admission, his inability to deny the truth a confirmation of Olivia's worst fears. The man she had loved, had planned a future with, was a stranger, his actions a stark contradiction to the vows they had shared. In that moment, Olivia knew that the life she had envisioned with James was over. The pain of his betrayal was sharp, but it also brought a clarity that she had not expected. She would not let his deceit define her or dictate her future. With a newfound resolve, Olivia faced James, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. "I deserve better than this, James. I deserve honesty, respect, and love. Things you're clearly incapable of giving." James had no words, his guilt rendering him silent. Olivia turned away, the finality of her decision clear in her steps. She would rebuild, find her happiness away from the shadows of James's betrayal. The journey would be her own, a path towards healing and rediscovering the strength she had always possessed. In the aftermath of James's departure, Olivia's world felt unmoored, adrift in a sea of confusion and hurt. The once comforting walls of their home now echoed with the silence of betrayal. Seeking solace, Olivia ventured into the crisp evening air, the streets of her neighborhood cloaked in the soft glow of streetlights. Her aimless wanderings led her to the park, a place where she and James had often found respite from the world. Now it served as a stark reminder of all that was lost. She settled on a bench, the cold seeping through her coat, mirroring the chill in her heart. As she sat, lost in thought, a figure caught her eye. A man, huddled on a nearby bench, his belongings piled beside him, a clear sign of his homelessness. Olivia's heart, despite its own fractures, ached for him. In a city teeming with life, he seemed utterly alone. Compelled by a force she couldn't quite understand, Olivia approached him. "Excuse me," she began, her voice gentle. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The man looked up, his eyes weary from hardships Olivia could only imagine. "No, thank you," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm just trying to stay warm." Olivia hesitated, then sat beside him, maintaining a respectful distance. "I'm Olivia," she introduced herself, offering a tentative smile. "Lucas," the man replied, a flicker of surprise in his eyes at her kindness. They sat in silence for a moment, the world around them fading into the background. Olivia broke the silence, her curiosity getting the better of her. "How did you end up here, Lucas, if you don't mind me asking?" Lucas sighed, a deep, weary sound. "Life, I suppose," he said, his gaze drifting to the night sky. "Made a few wrong turns, trusted the wrong people. Before I knew it, I was out here, with nowhere else to go." Olivia listened, her own troubles momentarily forgotten in the face of Lucas's stark reality. Here was a man who had lost everything, yet he carried his burdens with a certain dignity that Olivia couldn't help but admire. "Would you like to come with me?" Olivia found herself asking, the words out before she could second-guess herself. "I can offer you a warm meal, a shower, and a place to rest for the night." Lucas looked at her, stunned by the offer. "Why would you do that for me?" he asked, genuine puzzlement in his voice. "You don't even know me." Olivia smiled, a warmth spreading through her despite the cold. "Because tonight, I needed to be reminded that there's still kindness in this world. Helping you helps me too." For a moment, Lucas hesitated, the weight of his pride battling with the allure of a warm meal and a safe place to rest. Finally, he nodded, a small smile breaking through his guarded exterior. "Thank you, Olivia. I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," Olivia said as they stood. "Let's just help each other through tonight." Together, they walked back to Olivia's home, two strangers brought together by the unpredictable tides of life, each offering the other a glimmer of hope in the midst of their respective storms. Back at Olivia's home, Lucas stood awkwardly in the doorway, his eyes taking in the warmth and light of the space that seemed worlds away from the cold, dark bench he had occupied just hours before. Olivia, sensing his hesitation, offered a reassuring smile. "Please make yourself comfortable. You can use the bathroom first if you'd like. I'll prepare something for us to eat," she said, pointing him towards a small hallway. "Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate this more than you know," Lucas replied, his voice laden with a gratitude that seemed to momentarily lift the weight of his burdens. As Lucas disappeared into the bathroom, Olivia moved to the kitchen, her thoughts a whirlwind. She was no stranger to acts of kindness, but inviting a complete stranger into her home was uncharted territory. Yet, there was something about Lucas, a sense of shared understanding, that compelled her to extend her hand in friendship. While the pasta boiled on the stove, Olivia set the table, her mind wandering back to James. The pain of his betrayal still throbbed, but Lucas's presence, his story, offered a distraction, a reminder that her own heartache was but one thread in the tapestry of human suffering. Lucas emerged, looking somewhat transformed after a hot shower, his face less drawn, his posture straighter. Olivia noticed the change and felt a pang of satisfaction, knowing she had played a part in that transformation, however small. They sat at the table, the meal simple yet comforting. Lucas took a bite, then paused, looking at Olivia with newfound respect. "This is really good. It's been a while since I've had a home-cooked meal," he said, his voice soft, reflective. Olivia smiled, touched by his appreciation. "I'm glad you like it. Cooking has always been a way for me to find some peace, I guess." The conversation flowed naturally from there, the initial awkwardness giving way to a genuine connection. Lucas shared snippets of his life before the streets, his words painting a picture of a man who had once had dreams and aspirations, not so different from her own. "And what about you, Olivia? What's your story?" Lucas asked, his eyes kind, inviting her to share. Olivia hesitated, the wounds from James's betrayal still fresh, but looking into Lucas's expectant eyes, she felt a surge of trust, a sense that here was someone who could understand the depth of her pain. "My husband, he left," she began, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. "He chose someone else, leaving me to pick up the pieces of a life I thought we were building together." Lucas listened in silence, his expression one of empathy. "I'm sorry, Olivia. It's hard, feeling abandoned by someone you trusted." "Yes, but talking to you, helping you, it's made me realize that maybe this is an opportunity to start anew, to find strength I didn't know I had," Olivia said, a note of determination creeping into her voice. Their shared stories, though born of different sorrows, wove a bond between them, a mutual understanding that, despite the pain, there was hope to be found in new beginnings. As the night deepened, they found solace in each other's company, a pair of kindred spirits navigating the tumultuous waters of change. The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room where Lucas had spent the night on the couch. Olivia, having barely slept, was already in the kitchen, the rhythmic sound of chopping vegetables a meditative backdrop to her turbulent thoughts. Lucas emerged, looking more rested than he had in a long while, the shadows under his eyes slightly less pronounced. "Good morning, Olivia. I can't remember the last time I slept in a real bed." "Thank you," he said, his voice tinged with a mix of gratitude and lingering disbelief at the kindness he'd been shown. "Good morning, Lucas. I hope you're hungry." "I'm making breakfast," Olivia replied, managing a smile despite the heaviness in her heart. As they sat down to eat, the conversation meandered from mundane topics to more personal reflections, the shared meal a bridge between their disparate worlds. It was during this fragile peace that the sound of the front door being tried, followed by a loud knock, shattered the morning calm. Olivia froze, a knot of dread tightening in her stomach. She knew that knock. Lucas, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere, looked at her with concern. "Is everything okay?" Before Olivia could respond, James's voice, loud and demanding, echoed through the door. "Olivia, open up. We need to talk." Lucas stood, his body tensing, ready to protect Olivia if needed. "Do you want me to handle this?" he offered, his stance protective. Olivia shook her head, steeling herself for the confrontation. "No, I need to face him. Stay here, please." She opened the door to find James, his face a mask of anger and frustration. "What the hell, Olivia? Why is the door locked? Why are you ignoring my calls?" he demanded, trying to push past her into the house. Olivia stood her ground, her resolve hardened by the events of the past days and the strength she'd drawn from Lucas's presence. "You lost the right to enter this house when you decided to leave, James," she said, her voice steady. James's anger faltered, replaced by confusion. "What are you talking about?" "I just needed some time away. We can discuss this like adults." "Discuss? Like adults?" Olivia's voice rose, her anger surfacing. "You left me for another woman, James. You made your choice. There's nothing left to discuss." James's eyes widened, the truth hitting him like a physical blow. "Olivia, No, James, it's over. You need to accept that and move on," Olivia interrupted, her words cutting through his excuses. Lucas appeared behind Olivia, his presence a silent show of support. James, noticing him for the first time, took a step back, his anger reigniting. "And who is this? Is this how quickly you move on?" Olivia felt a surge of protective anger. "Lucas is a friend. Someone who has shown me more kindness in a single day than you have in months. He has nothing to do with our problems." James looked from Lucas to Olivia, his anger giving way to a realization that the life he'd left behind was moving on without him. With a final glare, he turned and walked away, the finality of the moment hanging heavy in the air. Olivia closed the door, leaning against it as the adrenaline faded, leaving her drained. Lucas approached, his concern evident. "Are you okay?" Olivia nodded, a weary smile on her lips. "Yes, thanks to you. I don't know what I would have done without your support." As they returned to the remnants of their breakfast, the bond between them deepened, forged in the fires of shared adversity and mutual support. Olivia realized that while the future was uncertain, the presence of a true friend like Lucas made it seem a little less daunting. The confrontation with James left a palpable tension in the air, a reminder of the challenges Olivia faced as she navigated her new reality. Yet Lucas's presence provided a comforting counterbalance, his quiet strength a balm to her frayed nerves. As they cleared the breakfast table together, Lucas broke the silence. "What will you do now, Olivia? About James, I mean." Olivia paused, the weight of the question settling on her shoulders. "I need to finalize things. Legally, I can't let him believe he can walk in and out of my life as he pleases," she said, her voice laced with a resolve that had been absent before. Lucas nodded, understanding the gravity of her decision. "If you need anything, even just someone to talk to, I'm here." Olivia looked at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Lucas. I don't know what I did to deserve your kindness, but I'm grateful." The morning turned to afternoon as they shared stories and plans for the future. Olivia spoke of her dreams, some old, some newly formed in the wake of her crumbling marriage. Lucas listened, his own thoughts turning towards the future, a concept he hadn't entertained in a long while. As the day waned, Olivia broached a subject she had been avoiding. "Lucas, you can't stay on the streets. It's not safe, and it's no way to live. There are places, shelters, that can help you get back on your feet." Lucas's expression turned pensive, the offer forcing him to confront his own future. "I know, but it's hard to accept help, to admit that I can't do this on my own." Olivia reached across the table, her touch gentle. "There's no shame in accepting help, Lucas. We all need it sometimes. Let me help you find a place, at least for the winter." The conversation shifted to practical matters, Olivia using her connections to find a local shelter with a good reputation. Lucas, though hesitant, agreed to visit the shelter the following day. That evening, as Lucas prepared to leave for the shelter, Olivia felt a pang of sadness. His presence had become a comforting constant in the chaos of her life. "Thank you, Olivia, for everything," Lucas said, standing at the door, his bag slung over his shoulder. Olivia smiled, her eyes misty. "No, thank you, Lucas. You helped me more than you know." They exchanged a farewell, the promise of future meetings hanging in the air. As Lucas walked away, Olivia felt a sense of hope, both for herself and for the man who had, in a short time, become a dear friend. The resolution to move forward, to rebuild from the ashes of her old life, felt more attainable with Lucas's example of resilience and the knowledge that kindness could be found in the most unexpected places. The days following Lucas's departure were filled with a mix of emotions for Olivia. The quiet of the house was a stark reminder of the void left by both James and Lucas, yet there was an undercurrent of strength and resolve within her that hadn't been there before. Determined to reclaim her life and her independence, Olivia began the process of legally separating from James. Sitting in the lawyer's office, she felt a surge of empowerment with each document she signed, each decision she made for herself. "It's a big step, Olivia, but you're handling it with a lot of grace," her lawyer commented as they reviewed the final paperwork. Olivia offered a small, determined smile. "Thank you. It's not easy, but I know it's the right thing to do for me." With the legal proceedings underway, Olivia turned her attention to the rest of her life, to the dreams and plans that had been overshadowed by her marriage. She started by renovating the house, painting over the old faded walls with bright, vibrant colors that reflected her newfound optimism. One evening, as she stood back to admire her handiwork, the doorbell rang. Wiping the paint from her hands, she opened the door to find a familiar face. "Lucas!" she exclaimed, surprised and delighted. "What a wonderful surprise! How are you?" Lucas stood there, looking healthier and more confident than when they had last met. "I'm doing well, thanks to you. I've found a job, and I'm staying at the shelter, working on getting back on my feet fully." "That's amazing, Lucas. Come in, Olivia said, ushering him inside. "Tell me everything." As they sat down, Lucas shared his journey, how the shelter had provided not just a roof over his head, but a community and resources to help him rebuild his life. "I've been meaning to come by, to thank you properly for what you did for me. You gave me hope when I had none." Olivia listened, her heart full. "I'm so happy for you, Lucas. You've come so far." Their conversation turned to Olivia's own transformations, both in her home and in her life. "It's been a journey, but I'm getting there. Making this house mine again, making my life mine again, it's been liberating." Lucas nodded, understanding the depth of her words. "You've helped me in more ways than you know, Olivia. Your kindness, your strength, it inspired me to change my life." The evening passed in warm conversation, the connection between them as strong as ever. As Lucas prepared to leave, he turned to Olivia with a smile. "This isn't goodbye, you know. We're both on new paths, but I have a feeling our paths will cross again." Olivia smiled, feeling a sense of kinship and shared destiny. "I believe that too, Lucas. Take care of yourself, and let's promise to keep in touch." As the door closed behind Lucas, Olivia felt a sense of contentment and hope. Her life, once defined by her marriage to James, was now her own to shape. And while the future was uncertain, she knew she had the strength and resilience to face whatever came her way. New beginnings. Indeed. Months passed, filled with change and growth for Olivia. The house, once a symbol of her failed marriage, had transformed into a vibrant sanctuary that mirrored her journey towards healing and self-discovery. She found solace in her work, her art, and the new friendships she nurtured, building a life that was authentically hers. One crisp autumn evening, as Olivia was hosting a small gathering for her friends, a familiar figure appeared at her door. Lucas stood there, looking different yet again, more confident, a content smile gracing his features. "Lucas!" Olivia exclaimed, surprise and joy evident in her voice. "What a wonderful surprise. Please come in." "Thank you, Olivia. I hope I'm not intruding," Lucas said, stepping inside, his eyes taking in the transformation of the space. "Of course not. You're always welcome here," Olivia assured him, leading him into the living room where her friends gathered, introducing him with warmth. As the evening progressed, Lucas shared his latest achievements, including a stable job and his move into a small but cozy apartment. It's a fresh start, Olivia. A new chapter, much like the ones you've been writing for yourself. Olivia smiled, her heart swelling with pride and happiness for him. I'm so proud of you, Lucas. We've both come a long way, haven't we? Yes, we have, and I owe a lot of my progress to the kindness you showed me when I needed it most, Lucas replied, his gratitude sincere. The room buzzed with conversation and laughter, but Olivia and Lucas found moments of quiet conversation, catching up and sharing their hopes for the future. It was clear to both that their bond, formed in a time of mutual need, had evolved into a deep and enduring friendship. As the night wound down and guests began to depart, Lucas helped Olivia with the cleanup. You've created something beautiful here, Olivia. Not just this home, but your life. It's inspiring. Olivia looked around, a sense of accomplishment filling her. It's been quite the journey, but I've learned so much about myself along the way, and having friends like you has made all the difference. Lucas nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. Life is unpredictable, but it's the people we meet along the way that shape our journey, isn't it? Yes, it really is, Olivia agreed, feeling a sense of contentment and anticipation for whatever the future might hold. As Lucas said his goodbyes, promising to not let so much time pass before their next meeting, Olivia felt a surge of gratitude for the unexpected paths that had led them to each other. Their reunion was a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in our darkest hours, there is always a glimmer of hope and the possibility of new beginnings. In the weeks that followed, Olivia and Lucas continued to rebuild their lives, each step forward a testament to their resilience. The bond they shared, forged in the crucible of their respective trials, had become a source of strength and encouragement. One brisk morning, as Olivia tended to her garden, Lucas dropped by, a cheerful grin on his face. "Olivia, guess what?" he said, barely containing his excitement. Olivia looked up, her hands still in the soil, a smile spreading across her face at his enthusiasm. "What is it, Lucas? You look like you're bursting with good news." "I am. I've been offered a full-time position at the community center. It's exactly what I've been hoping for," Lucas shared, his eyes shining with pride and joy. "That's wonderful, Lucas. Congratulations," Olivia exclaimed, standing up to give him a warm hug. "You've worked so hard for this. I'm so happy for you." "Thank you, Olivia. And I've been thinking," Lucas started, a hint of nervousness in his voice. "Now that I'm in a stable position, I want to give back, to help others who are where I was. I'm planning to start a program at the Center for the Homeless, to offer them the support and opportunities they need to turn their lives around." Olivia's heart swelled with admiration. "Lucas, that's incredible. You're going to make such a difference in so many lives. If there's anything I can do to help, you know I'm here for you." "I was hoping you'd say that. Actually, I could use your artistic skills. Maybe you could lead some workshops. It could be a great way for people to express themselves and heal," Lucas suggested, hopeful. "I'd love to. What a fantastic idea. We can use art to bring light to their lives, to offer a moment of beauty and peace amidst their struggles," Olivia agreed, already envisioning the possibilities. As they sat down with cups of tea, planning and brainstorming for the future, the sense of partnership and shared purpose between them was palpable. They were no longer just two individuals brought together by circumstance, but collaborators on a mission to make a difference. "Lucas, when I think about where we both were when we first met, it's hard to believe how far we've come," Olivia said, her voice tinged with wonder. "It really is, and I couldn't have done it without you, Olivia. Your kindness, your belief in me when I had none in myself, it changed everything," Lucas replied, his gratitude deep and sincere. Olivia smiled, a sense of peace and fulfillment enveloping her. "We helped each other, Lucas. That's what friends do." As the day faded into evening, their conversation turned to plans for the future, both personal and for the community project. They were two individuals, once adrift, who had found not just solid ground, but a shared path forward. In the quiet comfort of Olivia's garden, Amidst the blooms that had flourished under her care, it was clear that their friendship was much like the garden itself, a thing of beauty, resilience, and continuous growth. Moving forward, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their bond a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of compassion and friendship.